Alright folks, we're back here. I don't know if y'all can tell, we made a little progress with the face. What we had to do is we made that brow line. We got like a furrowed brow. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but we had to give him some arches there, which, look at pictures, it actually is very distinct arches over his eyes. And then we had to do a couple notches at the corner of the eye, and then here down at the mouth for the cheeks, to really start getting some shape to it. I mean, it's still a little muddled looking, so we have some more work to do, but we're making some progress. What I think we're going to do now is let the face sit for a minute. Let's start hashing out some of the body work. And the reason I say that is because this hairdo here, if you can see, we don't want to lose the hair, because we're having to taper it back, because it is got kind of a swept back look to it, but we don't want to lose it getting face details, because like I said, I can't build a whole wig for him. I mean, I don't know how to even begin to do that. So what we did is, using our template, oh here, we forgot to do the legs. You want to try and get all your lines you're going to cut to match up when you're having to do like splitting it, or like for example here, the legs. You're going to have a small gap between the legs here, and you want your lines in the front of your block of wood to match the ones in the back, so that it doesn't leave you with anything uneven, and it doesn't leave it splintering or anything like that. Sometimes you have to press really hard to get it to come through. That's why I always make copies of my templates, because this is the process that tears them up really bad. So if you use the original, you could be at an original if you draw them by hand like I do most of mine. I honestly couldn't tell you the last one that I did not draw by hand, and that's only because I can't always find an exact size of what I'm carving and other things like that. The size for the block of wood is usually what makes me have to draw most of them. Alright, the reason I etched those in is because it's going to be empty where the arms are. Anyways, back to what we were doing. So what we did is, we've transferred a lot of our detail to the back here. We did what I call a V-notch. So let me make sure I'm right, proper angles, so that we can have separation of the head and the body, so like a neck area. So some people call it a 45-degree angle cut. I don't know what degree angle it is. I call it a V. So if you're making this cut, just pretend like you're drawing a V into the wood, and that's how you'll get that separation there. And then we can start shaping the hair, get some of these hard edges off. Like I said, what I mean by hard edges is just any right angle lines. I'm going to try and round things, I guess would be the best way to say it. But that's a further step anyways. What I think we can focus on that might be helpful is the silly little clown collar, the little frilly bit. I never did find out what it's called when I was working on Twisty. Still not that important to even look it up now. It's a collar of some sort, I would guess, and it's really frilly and wavy, so that's what I'm going to keep referring to it as. And if my camera angles are good, it doesn't matter what I call it, you should be able to see what I'm working on. So what we're going to do is notch all that. Remember, it's what I call a plunging cut, so you're using the blade of the knife to actually go into the wood, and then you're doing a slight rocking motion forward. But when you're going down on top of the wood like this, the way the grain is, you have to be very careful, because you could plunge the knife a little too deep, deeper than you may want to. And as usual, whatever we do in the front, do in the back. Try and get everything cohesive and matching up. I'll tell you what, I knew Pennywise was going to be tough when I decided to do him. Honestly, I thought Twisty was going to be the really hard one, because I wanted that removable jaw mask. But I think I lucked out with that, because it didn't require I mean, it still required a lot of detail, but it seemed easier for some reason. And this Pennywise here, man, he's giving me a headache trying to figure out how to go about working on him. But I think we're at a good place. Still got to think of a few things to get him looking more, because right now he still kind of looks kind of like a cartoon of himself. We want to try and get him as close to what he really is. And then we got to get these buck teeth, because his mouth is open, hence why the cheeks are raised. And that's where one of our problems came in. It was, we want to make sure that we get the nose looking right, the mouth looking right, and the cheeks had to be in the right position too, for the anatomical structure of it. And the way I was able to accomplish that so far, I'm sorry I did a bunch of it off camera, but I was really spending a lot of time thinking and only doing a few cuts here and there, so I really had to do a lot of it off camera because I was just wasting too much time trying to figure it out as I went along. But a lot of it was just done by notching what I call that V cut in just the right places. So a V cut here, a V cut here, a V cut in between the eye and the nose, and you do that on both sides, and then it's giving us a visual that I'm a little bit happier with, and we're going to take a break on him, on his face at least. And since the collar's layered again, we had some practice with our first clown, so we are going to do it again here with our second clown. Just where we did that plunging cut is our stop cut. Now you're going to do a angled cut, about a 45-degree angle. I could be pretty comfortable in saying that with this particular spot. Just up to where we made that initial cut. Trying to think what layer I should. Yeah. We carve everything here that way in case it doesn't work out. You're not left without anything. So carve that little bit in. Carve that in. I said that's the only part that's going to be actually thinking of putting some sort of fur or whatever on to make it that fuzzy look. And then his hair. The rest is all going to be wooden. We're going to have to have a really decent paint job on him because he doesn't have a whole lot of color. It's a lot of gray. So that he doesn't look too dull and flat, we're going to have to work on that. Which is going to be a little tough. I don't know if I've ever done, I mean, it's almost like a black and white kind of paint job. Like if you were trying to take a colored object and then turn it black and white. That's kind of how I see the body of this particular Pennywise. He's got bright orange hair, not red hair, but orange hair. Got the bright red little balls where the buttons should be. And then the rest of him is just gray, like color is washed out. Very very odd, very neat look. I mean, it really, the color you do see on him, on his face especially, is that white face, but then he has those red lines, the red mouth, and the orange hair, and then he's got like orange, crazy looking eyes. So I guess maybe that's why they did the clothing that color. I kind of like the old-timey look too, where the original Pennywise seemed, I mean, I wouldn't say current, but for the time period, he was based in the first one was based in the 50s and looked like a clown would dress like in the 50s. Where this guy, this Pennywise, he's much older than that, which is neat because it just shows he's been around for a very long time. Kind of gives you that importance there, where the first Pennywise costume didn't quite give you the feeling that he's been around for a really long time. Like I said, the movie's good. Check it out, people, especially with Halloween. It's getting ready to leave theaters, though. So by the time I'm done with this, who knows if it'll still be in theaters. It came out September 8th, where I live. I don't know where else. I mean, if it was released on different dates for different areas, you know, like East Coast, West Coast, all that stuff. It came out September 8th here, and I never in my life, well, no, that's not true. I was about to say I've never gone to a movie when it first premieres, but I did with my brother 2 years ago for the Star Wars. premiere, because it's our kind of Christmas tradition to watch the Star Wars movies, and they've been coming out on Christmas. But yeah, I'd recommend seeing it. And I'm really curious. Like, I don't want to give anything away for any of those who haven't seen it, because this is not a movie review channel, although I do talk about movies quite a bit. But I don't want to give anything away. No spoilers. I hate that. But it's a good movie. You need to check it out, and I'm really excited to see what they do for the sequel. Because if anybody's ever seen the miniseries, if anybody's familiar with it, the It story period, you know, as kids they beat him, or think they beat him, and then they make a pact that if they didn't, then they come back as grown-ups to finish him off. So it's neat how they're gonna see how they tie that in, since the 2017 remake was just them as kids. Keep people calling me, man. And that's something, you try and get a hold of somebody, they don't ever answer their phone. Everybody always wants to text, and then when you're in the middle of doing something is when somebody wants to call you, which I prefer. I hate texting. For any of you people out there watching my videos, can't stand it. Don't know how you all feel on it, but I hate text messaging so much. You could have such a short conversation on the telephone as it would take you hours of texting back and forth. It's just insane why people just get wrapped up in text messaging. But alright guys, we're going to keep working at it. Put some more detail in there. If I think it's pertinent to show you all what we're doing, I'll start filming again. But like I said, we're going to leave the face alone for now. Gotta think on it real hard about what we want to do next, and we'll be back with our next clip.